Recently I noticed that the number of people who follow this YouTube channel has passed 400,000, and for that I want to say thank you to everybody who watches. It warms my heart. But I also wanted to dive into the topic of numbers really quickly because they're kind of inescapable and I think it's fair to address them. I make videos online, and when you make videos or when you make anything really, like any product, like the number of likes, the number of followers, the number of subscribers, the number of users is a very relevant metric a lot of times when it comes to your day-to-day, and it really depends on your pursuit. Like if you just have a private Instagram account that you use to check in on the world from time to time and you don't really post on it, obviously you don't really care about numbers. Whereas if you identify as a content creator who is someone who's actively trying to grow their social channels across the board, obviously you'd really be into numbers and analytics, and also trying to put the numbers into perspective at every step of the way. The problem you run into though after a while is you can't really put the numbers into perspective. Like I could look at the number 400,000 and I'll be like, okay, well that's 173 times the number of people I went to high school with, or like 23 times the number of people I went to college with, or like half the population of some city. But like you never fully grasp the entirety of what that means, you know what I mean? And that's because numbers in general are they're weird, really weird if you think about it, given how much we have to think about them and how much they affect how we think. The reason numbers are weird is it's because of like our limited ability to like wrap our minds around them, literally. Most people are within the range of like 0 to 200 when it comes to the numbers that they can kind of easily play around with in their head. For example, if I asked you, it probably wouldn't take you that long to calculate 6 plus 7 in your head, or like 6 times 7 in your head. But if I escalate the numbers, if I go what's 42 times 7 or what's 67 times 42, the numbers kind of quickly, you're like, oh, the numbers are starting to reach the upper limit of the numbers that you're comfortable with, is what I'm saying. So big numbers scare us because they make us uncertain. It's like, you don't really know. We fear what we don't understand, I feel like. Which is why society has, conversions and terms that we've come up with to put the numbers into easier boxes, right? So we can talk efficiently about things big and small. That's why there's 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour, 365 days in a year, so on. So for most scale sizes, in the category of measuring, the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, we have methods of description that produce relatively easy numbers for us to play around with. And we need that, but it's not perfect. Like even that falls apart when you get like huge numbers, because there's always a point where you reach a number that's impossible to contextualize. Like you can probably understand the concept of 30 years going by, you could experience 30 years going by. You could probably accurately project time going back even farther than that, like say a couple hundred years. The air just turned off, so it's quiet now. But to picture a triceratops living on Earth 66 million years ago, like it breaks your frame of reference as a human being. You can't picture it because it's too long ago, the number's too big, like there's really no point. It's like your brain would have understood the same thing if I had said 132 million years ago. It'd be inaccurate, but it would be like, yeah, a long time ago. You can know that your body is made up of 37 trillion cells, or that the nearest neighboring star system is 25 trillion miles away, but you can't really wrap your head around those numbers or compare them with anything from your local perspective. Even when you scale it down to just numbers of people, like it's only like 7-8 billion people, it doesn't get much better. Like we can only have close friendships with like 50 to 200 people. Like there's a cap to it. I think a lot of people know this already, so I'm kind of too lazy to cite the sources, but yeah, there's a cap on the number of people that we can form bonds with. The maximum number of faces that our brain can recognize, like in a lifetime, is like 10,000, and we remember even fewer names. So there's a big difference between the number of people that you can know, which is like a few thousand, and the number of people that can know you, which is pretty much uncapped, or it's 8 billion. Not that this is a new phenomenon. I'm not saying anything new. This is how the world works. People have always been famous, and before there were celebrities, there were monarchs and dignitaries, or whatever. The difference is thanks to the internet nowadays, pretty much anybody can be well known. And when the number of people who know you surpasses the number of people that you could possibly know, that's when things get weird, especially with each increase in the order of magnitude. When the number of people who, sign up for your content or consume the things you create reaches a certain level, it affects things. It can have a pretty profound effect on your perspective. And the air turned back on. For example, if your YouTube videos usually get like 5,000 views per video, and then one day you post one and it gets 3 million views in a week or so, and you get like this flood of subscribers to your channel in this huge growth period, it's probably going to shock you a little. It might not. You might be completely cool, or you might be left scrambling trying to figure out how you're going to make a video that does that well again, or how you're going to entertain all of the people who are suddenly subscribed to your channel. It can be kind of overwhelming. Or maybe you might feel, suddenly overexposed, or like, maybe feel like your message didn't get across as well as you thought it did, You might start to question whether or not you want your likeness or your life or, your ideas to just be out there for the world to see and to judge. You could get caught up on the fact that there's thousands of eyes, on you, watching you, and you don't really know everybody, and you can't really know everybody. So there's a lot that can happen. Another thing that happens when the numbers get really big is that it can affect how other people look at you, like the outside world. If you have a really large amount of money or followers or fame, people can get distracted by that. That can become all that they see, and it can kind of throw a lot of noise into the system. Not that I'm freaking out by any means. This isn't my first rodeo, and I've thought a lot about how, the number of followers that you have can affect how you think and your creativity, all the way back since when I first got 100,000 followers on Vine 6 years ago. So I'm not nervous, but what I have always kind of felt as the numbers have gotten bigger is kind of like this sense of duty, or not like duty because it sounds like I don't want to do it, but like, something that I'm happy to do. An obligation to you, or a duty to you, the audience, to be thoughtful, improving when I can, trying not to be annoying. Also feel like a duty to myself to have fun with it, to relax. I want to enjoy the process. I don't want to paint myself in a corner creatively, so that making videos can stay the fun and creative process that has always been. Not to say that I don't pay attention to numbers and analytics, because they are very relevant, like I said. So I'm very aware of the numbers. Before Social Blade for YouTube analytics, there was Ranks for Vine analytics. If you know, you know. If you want to, you can obsess over numbers all day. And they matter a lot. I'm not trying to say they don't matter. They do matter, but they're not the main focus. So they shouldn't be the main focus. If you're making a living online making videos, they definitely matter a huge amount. And they can be intimidating, unsettling, scary. The internet's a weird place. But I take solace in the fact that I'm not the only one who deals with large numbers. There's obviously a million people with higher follower counts than I have. And another important thing is that nobody is designed for this, like evolutionarily, socially, like the numbers are too big for people. So, the train wrecks, the breakdowns, the burnouts are like not only common, they're almost expected at this point. On that note, thanks again to everybody who, watches and follows and likes and subscribes and all of that stuff. Nice to have you along. I hope you're enjoying yourself. This is the end of the video. If you're still watching and you feel like it, you could maybe leave me a comment and tell me how you doing. How you doing? I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. I just got back from a trip, so, I'm chilling, relaxing. It's good to be home.